Well, we've arrived at pillar number 4 of our Driving Business Growth program. And in today's video, we're going to talk about systems, procedures, if you will. And let me give you the meat right up front. I don't want you to leave, but I want you to hear it right up front because it's important. It's the foundation of everything else I'm going to say. Systems run your business. Your people work with your systems, and you lead your people. Let me repeat that. Systems run your business. Your people run your systems or work with them, and you lead your people by setting expectations, defining how you want the work to be done in your company. That's the basic foundation of systems. Another basic foundation of systems is, well, Chris, how do I know when to create a system? I generally say, well, what's the best way to do a particular function? And they say, well, we do it this, and this way. Great, write that down. You've just done a system. It's not complicated. Let's not make it any more complicated than it needs to be. Now, systems will permeate your organization, but you take them in segments. You take them in pieces of how business flows through your company. And why systems are important is that systems are directly related to output or outcomes. Your outcomes are directly related to your customer's experience. And your customer experiences is directly related to sales and profit. So do you need to understand why systems are important? They're directly linked through profit, revenue, and growth. So with that as background, let's look at why systems are important. First, systems produce consistent results. Consistency builds trust. Trust builds relationships. They want to do business with you more and more. Relationships builds businesses through increased revenues. Next, systems provide a platform for enhanced effectiveness. Again, because we have consistent results, directed towards a specific outcome, and if everybody knows that outcome, we're all more efficient. We know if we go from point A to point B, we're going to get C as the outcome. So systems create more efficient outcomes. Now, another issue, and I deal with this sometimes with clients, they'll tell me there was a customer service problem. The first thing I ask, is the system correct as it relates to that function? And if they say, well, yeah, Chris, let's look at the system, and yes, it's working properly, then it was an execution issue, which may result to either a training issue on the employee or the individual just didn't care and wasn't going to follow the procedure. Now, when procedures do break down, if you have established systems, it's easy to go find where the breakdown occurred and how to fix it. The third piece of why systems are important is that they create improved efficiency. You always have a foundation. You can build on that foundation to improve your customer experience, to improve how your business produces its output. And let me let you in on a secret. Our customers, our buyers, always expect us to get better from day to day. Systems provide for predictable performance and outcome. That's pretty obvious. If you're following step by step by step, if I had 4 people doing the same thing, following those procedures in an honest approach, we're going to get the same output. Think about the auto industry if we weren't all following systems as we built cars. Who had a green door, who had a blue door, maybe someone put the steering wheel on the other side. Those are exaggerations, but they demonstrate the importance of following your systems. Next, systems produce, as I said before, a predictable customer experience. And finally, systems make your business turnkey. Now, what does that mean? One of the things I always ask a new client is, so what's your ultimate decision with respect to this business? Do you plan on selling it? Do you plan on passing it on to another generation, which may be a sale in and of itself? And the first response was, Chris, we just started the business. Why should I think about selling it? Because your business exists for only one reason, to generate cash, either through the day-to-day operations or when you sell it. And if your business is turnkey, which means it operates without you, it increases the value you will get for your business when you sell it. If your business depends upon your existence, your physically being there, then you're going to get less when you go to sell your business. So when you're thinking about systems, remember I said at the beginning, it's linked to profit and revenue. When you think about systems, remember the word turnkey And when you think of the word turnkey, you think about sale, you think about future security. Now, the next obvious question is, what does one do to create systems? And again, I want to keep this very simple. You may have lots of systems in your business, and maybe it's complicated. But just because it's complicated doesn't mean we need to have a complicated approach. So the first thing you want to do when creating systems is to identify all of the major functions within your business. Accounting, financial, customer service, whatever the case may be. Then break it down by those tasks. And you identify what the key tasks are. Which are the ones that have the most impact on how the work flows through that department to the next department, or the impact on the customer's experience. And one of the ways you can start, where to start, is if there's a particular procedure or system that's causing you a problem as seen as in your customer experience, then start there first. Let's deal with those headaches early on so that you can begin to focus on the longer, bigger picture. Next, once you've identified the major functions, you've identified the key tasks in that function, identify who does them. It doesn't have to be by employee name, maybe it's employee title. Who is the person, what is the function that performs these tasks? Then here's the interesting part. The next piece is you define how you want the work done. In an earlier video, I mentioned a conversation I had with a client who said to me, Chris, nobody does it the way I want it to be done. That's why I have to always be here. And I said to him, Frank, I changed the name, Frank, have you trained your employees to do it the way you want to do it? Or do you just come in and yell at them for not doing it the way you want, but you haven't told them? That's like double jeopardy. So the first thing we need to do is define how do you want your sales agreement to be filled out. We took a blank sales agreement and we put numbers next to each line. And next to that number on a corresponding piece of paper, we wrote down what goes on this line, in what detail, who does it, and that became our guide, if you will, our procedure, our system for filling out a sales agreement. So define how you want the work to be done. No one says that you're wrong. If you have a particular way you want it done, then by God, you want to be able to memorialize it and put it down in a manual, in a binder, whatever the case may be, and use that as the basis of your training. Next, who are they done for? And as I've said repeatedly throughout our program here, you have internal customers and you have external customers. Going back to the sales agreement, when that is completed properly, that goes to two places. One, it goes to the service department, who knows what they have to build in terms of the product. Then it goes to the financial department, so they know what they have to bill the customer for the work to be done. So in that example, the salesman, the service and billing department are customers of the salesman. They're depending upon him or her to produce that proper sales agreement or that output for them to do their jobs efficiently and effectively. And finally, what is the desired outcome? To deliver the product to the customer in a friendly, hassle-free environment. So systems are critical to your business. As I said at the very beginning when I said I'd give you the meat right away, systems run your business, people run your systems, you lead your people. So what I want you to do now is take a hard look at one of your departments, specifically a department that you believe could improve its efficiency, specifically a department where you think the employees are not yet properly trained to your satisfaction. And I want you to pick that one department and take one key function in that department and lay out with that person who's ever working in that department what the key tasks are. Create a visual, create a flow chart. Make sure that all the tasks are in the right order. Then ask yourself a question. Are these the right tasks? Should we add any? Should we delete any? Are they in the right sequence in terms of starting point, ending point? Does the individual know all of the components of those tasks? So spend a little time, create that visual, if you will, and then use that as the basis for your employee, not only to be trained, but how they perform their duties. Just take one function, one task, and start there. And then over the span of the next 12 months, depending upon the size of your organization, start to tackle all the other areas. And if you have one particular area that's driving you crazy, start there first. So, we've now completed our discussion of systems. Very simple, very direct, and we're now at the end of our fourth pillar, systems. and procedures. Thus far, we've covered strategy, we've covered the leader, productivity, then strategy, then we've covered structure, and now we've completed systems. The next pillar of our Driving Business Growth program is one of the most important, if not the most important, when we talk about the people who comprise your team. They're not your people, they're your team. Because those are the folks who interact with your customers. So for now, you've got your homework, go to it.